Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of the Prime Time Newscast in the English language and Canal de International. Will begin with our top stories. At least 18 persons are reported to have died in an accident this afternoon in Adea in the Sanaga Maritime Division, Littoral San. And the recent threats and flight mode campaigns by subscribers of mobile telephone companies over the poor quality of services rendered have certainly pressured government into sanctioning the mobile telephone operators. And the Social Democratic Front, a party today, clocks 33, and militants across the country are commemorating the anniversary in their respective regions. Celebrations are under the difficult context, but the party leaders say it's a moment to reflect on the mechanisms to push the opposition party to a better state of the party. Good evening once more. At least 18 persons are reported to have died in an accident in Adea in the Sanaga Maritime Division, Littoral region this afternoon. The victims were on board a 32-seater bus that was crushed by a truck on high speed transporting a son. It is reported the victims were on their way to the village for the burial of a woman when they met the unfortunate incident. The remains have been transported and deposited at the Adea District Hospital mortuary. We'll come back to that in our subsequent editions of a newscast. Founded on May 26, 1990, the SDF party clocks 33 years to the existence, presenting a balance sheet of conflicts and less wins. To Cameroonians, a party that before was a crowd puller is now a shadow of itself. More in the following story. Once vibrant in the 1990s and early 2000s through the streets of Douala and Cameroonians, we spoke to a fast to describe the party as not only limping but crawling to its grave. When the SDF came on in the 1990s, everybody knew it will replace the CPDM, it will replace the UPC party. Unfortunately, it showed its limits. The SDF in the 1990s and what we see today is contrasting. Every Cameroonian believed or was behind the SDF. Today, a lot of persons have left the SDF party for the CPDM, and other political parties all have created their own parties, which is a bad sign. A fair judgment of the party from its slogan, Power to the People, its ideologies, political activities, both in and out of parliament, leaves observers to weep for what remained of the one-time crowd puller. Today, it will be just to say the SDF can hardly boast of a significant presence in parliament and councils. What is left of the first opposition party is in-house finding on that the SDF has a hidden agenda with the party in power, reason for their political stagnation and failure to gratify the wish Cameroonians have nursed for change in status quo for the past 33 years. They made a lot of promises, but very little was concretized. If there needs to be a change, then they must re-strategize and try to convince Cameroonians in the next 5 years. As we heard in that report, the SDF party is celebrating 33 years of existence today, and SDF militants have been celebrating or commemorating. Militants or officials or scribes are strategizing on how they could move the party ahead on standby at the party headquarters in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Is our reporter Hyson Chia. Hello, Hyson.
It is the celebration of the 33th anniversary of the Social Democratic Front, as we all know. 26th of May 1990, was the birth of the SDF. And behind me, as you can see in the hall, are militants of the Social Democratic Front that are here in their numbers to commemorate this very memorable day. I am here with NEC member Mumabi Yvonne, who will be telling us under what context are we celebrating this particular anniversary. Good evening, Madam Yvonne.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. It's 33 years in the life of the SDF and 7 years since the birthplace of the SDF has been under lockdowns and with the impossibility of us having our anniversary at home. But we could not just cross our fingers and sit. We decided to come to the regional headquarters and tried to sensitize them on social democracy. We've had quite a lengthy talk since 3 o'clock, and it's satisfied militants, it's young Cameroonians whose resilience we've just built, who think that with their trust in the SDF has everything to offer for them in the future.
And I think the convention was equally part of the reflections here today.
Yes, of course. Our 10th convention comes up at the end of July. So there is nothing we're going to do with pomp, because we'll come out of that convention like the matured 33 years old that we are. And after that convention, we have every reason to celebrate our lives like militants of the Social Democratic Front. We call on other Cameroonians to rally behind us. Our new force is that we are defending every Cameroonian wherever they are. Syndicates, workers. You find yourself in any syndicate, know you have an ally in the SDF, because we are out to defend you.
Thank you so much. And as we know, on the 3rd of June will be an enlarged NEC meeting here at Olezwa. And the celebrations continue as the SDF.
And in this edition, we have as guest Barrister Kanwalime. He is a political observer. He gives his appraisal on the SDF party 33 years after.
SDF has become a laughing stock. A lot of dream. They thought this party was going to do so much, but along the line we've discovered that it's more of personal interest than public interest, because there's nothing justify the fact that John Fudi has been the president from the beginning of this party, and he's still there to today. Whereas longevity is one of the things that he criticized against Paul Biya. So he's just practicing the things that he criticized, and to me it has caused a lot of problems. Then another thing is, I think that John Fundi is trying to, apart from the fact that SDF gave us the impetus, gave us the courage to speak freely in this country, and that in the past they have done, maybe they occupy some councils and members of parliamentarian, and maybe they did one or two things, but I cannot tell you, I cannot pinpoint to you that SDF has done this, apart from the fact that they help Cameroonians to give them this power, this courage to speak out.
A notorious scammer that has been duping gendarmerie officers promising promotion has been arrested in the National Gendarmerie after squeezing out millions of francs CFA from their victims. It was presented to the press this day in Yaoundé. Our reporter Hysen Cha completes the story for us.
He presented himself to his numerous victims on phone as the immediate collaborator to the Secretary of State in charge of the National Gendarmerie, Galaxy Toka, demanding huge sums of money from the heads of the different gendarmerie units and promising them promotion. A criminal action he does on daily basis since August 2022, but following a number of complaints, he has been cracked down by the elements of the National Gendarmerie.
On the 22nd of May, another demonstration came up, so the hierarchy instructed us to open an investigation. We opened the investigation, we tracked the numbers with the phone that was used with these numbers. That same day, we led to his arrest here in Yaoundé at Imabankwata.
Presenting the culprit to the public, This Friday, May 26th, the gendarmerie authorities sent a clarion call for more vigilance.
The Secretary of State at that gendarmerie is calling on people to denounce these false pretense acts, and he has put at disposal numbers like 113, 1501 to denounce any action for extortion. We should be vigilant. We don't buy posts, because most of these people, what they do is they propose posts of choices to people to receive money. And when people are so seduced with this proposal, that's how they do and send them money.
The black deals of the ex-convict were facilitated by an accomplice at the New Bell prison in Douala, a sacked uniformed man. The perpetrator will be presented before the State Council once again to answer for his crimes.
The Telecommunications Regulatory Board has slammed a 6 billion franc CFA sanctions on mobile telephone companies in Cameroon for their poor quality of service rendered consumers. Experts say for these companies, consumers satisfied. For these companies, satisfied consumers, it will certainly take at least 6 months, as we hear in the following report with our reporter Gladys Ambo-Diba.
The recent threats and flight mode campaigns by subscribers of mobile telephone companies over the poor quality of services have certainly pressured government into sanctioning the mobile telephone operators.
The Telecommunication Regulatory Board has sent to the field many teams of its experts. They go there and work with those guys, and they commit themselves to change. Let's say, to upgrade the service rendered to the consumers. Unfortunately, yes, because there is no time left, many consumers are crying due to the bad quality of that service. Nothing has been done.
6 billion francs CFA is the total amount the 4 mobile telephone operators are expected to pay for being recalcitrant to change. Although it is an insignificant amount in regards to their turnovers, experts express fears the sanctions would certainly affect change only in the long term.
Asking them to pay such penalties will push them absolutely to react and gives, let's say, the answer which has been asked to them by the consumers. If the matter is the technological tools, it means that they have to look to abroad where they can see a provider of that technology. All this can take at least 6 months, and it means that if you have to hope that we will have a good quality of service as far as electronic communications are concerned, we have to wait at least until January 2024.
To Consumers' Rights Association, the sanctions are unsatisfactory.
Nous prenons acte des amendes infligées aux opérateurs de téléphonie mobile.
We have taken note of the sanctions, but we rather want the cost of communication to drop in Cameroon as compensation to consumers who bear enormous prejudice. The only beneficiary here is the Telecommunications Regulatory Board, because at the end of the day, it is the consumer who will bear all the cost. We want, above other demands, a drop in the internet and call costs so that consumers can feel the impact of the decision taken against the mobile telephone operators. But the Telecommunications Regulatory Board also emphasizes the sanctions will include the reduction of the duration of the concessions or total withdrawal.
Enterprises in Cameroon have been told to respect standards in order for their goods to be competitive in the international market. This was during the 8th Steering Committee meeting of Cameroon Competitive Support Facility that held here in Cameroon's economic city Douala. Gladys Ambo-Diba completes that story.
For local products to compete with those from the European Union, local industries must respect the required standards. Cameroon's Competitiveness Support Facility emphasizes, apart from the ability to draw up and present a business plan, enterprises must ensure they meet investors' criteria and attract financing.
Particularly concerning the companies, we have worked with them to improve the business plan and fulfill all the requirements of the partner banks. At that level, we have really evolved, and we have been working with partner banks during the last month to fulfill this requirement and to bring the company to really master the bank requirement.
Apart from laying emphasis on financing and product quality, members of the Steering Committee of Cameroon's Competitiveness Support Facility meeting in Douala, May 25, 2023, for the 8th session, were also taking stock of their activities this far.
It's all about how we will be finishing the project of this session. It's all about looking forward, because we have many projects who has not been executed. So we want to make sure that we have enough time, the 6 months remaining, to bring everything up to date.
To meet the growth projection rate of 4% by 2024 and a drop in inflation to 5.9% at the end of 2023, still above the CEMAC 3% inflation threshold, the Cameroon European Union Cooperation Instrument is working towards improving production in order to export the surplus. The goal is to contribute in reducing Cameroon's trade deficit.
Police Commissioner Jean-Paul Mendon, who died in active service as the head of the Central Regional Identity Unit, has today received military honors as he begins final journey to eternity. The departure of the committed law enforcement agent has been described as a big vacuum. As we hear the following story with our reporter, Hyson Chia.
He was a selfless servant in the police corps for over 37 years. Police Commissioner Mandeng Jean-Paul, who died in active service on April 25th as head of the Regional Center for the Processing of Identity Documents in the center, quits the scene at the age of 60. His remains received military honors this Friday, May 26th, at the National Advanced Police School through Police Commissioner Nga on behalf of the General Delegate for National Security, with a message of comfort for the family with heavy hearts.
He was not just a good policeman, he was also a good father. So today, we have lost our father, but you have to keep calm and fortify our arms. And I don't know, it's difficult, but you have to be strong.
A huge vacuum equally created at his workplace.
Nous regrettons de l'avoir perdu aujourd'hui et que le Seigneur l'accueille dans son royaume.
The native of Omong, Ngok Mapubi division of the Central region, will be laid to rest this Saturday, May 27th.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of Prime Time.